A federal judge in California yesterday struck down as unconstitutional the don't ask, don't tell policy, the military's ban on gay people serving openly in the military. The judge ruled that the policy violates service members' First Amendment rights to free speech, as well as their Fifth Amendment rights to due process. Judge Virginia Phillips also said she would issue an injunction to keep the government from enforcing what she ruled is a due process denying, free speech violating policy. Now, the Justice Department has not yet said whether it will appeal the judge's decision. A Justice Department spokesman did say that lawyers are reviewing the ruling. As for the commander-in-chief, well, he didn't have to say anything about it today. President Obama was not asked a single question about the ruling at today's press conference, which, frankly, I thought was weird. But the Justice Department may have, for its part, already tipped its cards a little bit on this issue. The Justice Department mounted a really bad defense in this case, so bad as to be almost non-existent. We learned this today not from the Justice Department, but from Judge Phillips in her 85-page decision. She noted on page 20 of that decision, quote, apart from the act itself and its legislative history, defendants, meaning the government, admitted no evidence and produced no witnesses. No witnesses, not a single one, except for the policy itself and its legislative history. That's the if it please the court equivalent of, hey, so we have this thing, and here's how we got this thing, and that's all we have to say about it. No witnesses, no, we don't have any other defense. Really, not much of a defense. And that not much of a defense did not really fly with Judge Phillips, who also in her ruling pretty much eviscerated the government's premise, the premise upon which don't ask, don't tell is based, specifically the part of the policy that contends that it would create an unacceptable risk to the high standards of morale, good order, and discipline and unit cohesion that are the essence of military capability. In other words, the law's purported justification is that the military would become incapable of getting things done if it were known, even merely suspected, that somebody in uniform might not be straight. To that purported justification for don't ask, don't tell, Judge Phillips essentially said hogwash, for the simple fact that the military continues to send service members who are under investigation for violating don't ask, don't tell into combat while their cases are being investigated. Then, statistically, it tends to wait until they get back from combat before concluding that there's such a danger, oh my gravy, they're so dangerous, they must kick them out. On page 64 of the ruling, quote, it defies logic that the purposes of the act could be served by suspending the investigation during overseas deployments only to discharge a service member upon his or her return to a non-combat station. The effect of the act has been not to advance the government's interests of military readiness and unit cohesion, much less to do so significantly, but to harm that interest. If it's so dangerous to have openly gay people in combat, why, when we suspect people of being openly gay, do we stop trying to kick them out so they can go participate in combat? Judge Phillips's ruling is that gay and lesbian service members are not a threat to the military. They already serve in the military and in combat. The policy itself of kicking out capable men and women for no reason other than their sexuality, the ruling says that is actually the threat to America's military. In presenting its case, the plaintiffs called among their many witnesses Major Mike Almy. Major Mike Almy was discharged from the Air Force under don't ask, don't tell, even though he was asked, and he never told. After Major Almy's unit left Iraq, someone in the unit that replaced his discovered some of his private emails. Those emails then formed the basis of the Air Force's case against him. Major Almy shared his story with Judge Phillips at trial. She concluded in her ruling, quote, the court found Almy a credible, candid, and forthright witness.